This video is gonna be a bit different. I will not be much hands-on doing DIY stuff this time. I do have two new devices I want to show you, and I will be testing some software as well, but for the most part, this is a news update video, because I have some incredible news that I need to share with you. And it's all about the Ctrl MC system. It's a system currently in development to be used for simplifying and improving the electrical system on your old motorcycle. This system will be the new go-to solution for anyone that needs to completely redo and fix the electrical issues on their motorcycle. It will be fully configurable, so this system is possible to use on any motorcycle and tailored to your specific needs for your specific motorcycle. The system will be provided both as a DIY solution for those who like to tinker with electronics and as a pre-made plug-and-play out-of-the-box system. It is designed to be foolproof, easy to install, very reliable and fail-safe. But I also would like to make this system affordable, so we can get as many old motorcycles back on the road as possible. And if I can help you to fix your motorcycle and make you happy, that's my biggest reward. And that leads to my first news story. I am very happy to announce NextPCB as the official supplier for the Ctrl MC system. They are the perfect partner to help this project move forward. They bring deep experience from the automotive industry, and they have multiple partnerships with automotive companies. They specialize in automotive rated and certified boards, which is exactly what we need for our system. We need a system that manages electrical spikes, handles both hot and cold environments, is resistant to water, moisture, shock, vibration. NextPCB can help with all of these challenges. Last but not least, they have partners who can assist beyond PCB manufacturing as well, like other types of production, sales and distribution. And on top of that, I'm very happy to share NextPCB is also sponsoring this project. Their support will lower the R&D cost for me and makes the final product more affordable for you. I have already ordered the first PCB from NextPCB. I ordered 5 PCBs with the components pre-soldered. I also received 6 extra bare bones without any components. I actually noticed this was going to happen during the production process. Their tracking system kept me constantly updated step by step, and I saw early on that extra PCBs were going to be produced. Getting free extras isn't something you can expect every time. It probably just depends on the size of your PCB compared to the total material they feed into their machine. But just take a look at these. Without a doubt, these are the most premium PCBs I've ever laid my eyes on. Alright, it's time to look at one of the PCBs with the components soldered on. They come properly packaged in anti-static bags, which is a great touch. Looking at this straight away, I can tell you right now, I'm never hand soldering through whole components again. This soldering is about 1.5 million times better than my hand soldering. It's just super professional. I'm really excited to test these connectors, by the way. Having the cables run horizontally out from the PCB, I think that's so much smarter than my previous design where I used vertical or angled connectors. And look at this tiny module. It takes 12 volts in on one end and gives you 8 output ports. This is an 8-channel solid-state relay, and each channel has a built-in protection. You can say each have their own separate automatic fuse built right into them. And I also got a bunch of extra connectors. I guess these arrived in bulk, so they threw in whatever was left over from the production run. It's really awesome of NextPCB to include the leftovers. Honestly, never seen any other suppliers do that before. To keep the project going, I had to register a corporate entity here in Norway. It's now the legal entity responsible for developing the Ctrl MC system and for running this YouTube channel. So, what changes can you expect? Absolutely none. I am the only employee, and this is still very much a side hustle alongside my day job. The transition was because of Norwegian regulations. Up until now, Ctrl MC, the project, has been a hobby for me. But now there is more money changing hands. It's no longer allowed to treat this as a hobby. A company must be registered and bookkeeping must be done. However, when establishing a corporation here in Norway, the law requires you a minimum share capital. So I had to transfer a big chunk of my hard-earned savings and transfer it to the company account. A significant chunk of that again has already vanished into registration fee, accounting setup, banking costs. But I have faith in this project, and I hope to eventually recoup that investment. At least, that's what I promised my wife. If I don't, I might be in big trouble. But seriously, it is the right thing to do. I'm fully committed to making this system a reality. And the goal is to make it a certified and road legal system. Having a corporate structure as the legal entity is the right thing to do. And what is the company name? What other than Complicated Productions? I've even made a homepage for it. And if you have followed my previous work, you might remember a video I posted about 1.5 years ago, not exactly forecasting what was going to happen. But of course, I'm gonna complicate the project. I usually do that. You know, this is just my hobby. But if I was to start a company and do this for a living, I would probably have to call the company Complicated Productions and have a really complicated logo. And I would have my own webpage, complicated.productions. That would be nice. Probably never gonna happen. Moving on to the latest hardware news. I took 2 of the existing prototypes and combined them and built a new device. It is the first piece of hardware in this project that genuinely look like a finished product. Inside this enclosure is the same STM microcontroller and the same power and CANBUS module used in the latest prototype. Firmware, however, is completely new. It was developed almost entirely by AI. So when I think of it, there is actually 2 of us now working in Complicated Productions. The device is a CANBUS sniffer. Calling it a sniffer is not entirely accurate. It can sniff and it can bark. The long-term goal is to use this hardware for both firmware updates and system configuration as well. The reason Claude could generate this firmware so easily is because the Ctrl MC relies entirely on open industry standard frameworks. It's utilizing a hybrid of CAN 2.0 and CAN FD for physical layers, alongside with the standard DBC database structures for messages. By using these standards, the system operates exactly like a modern production car or a premium motorcycle. These systems are stable, documented, and universally understood. There's absolutely no reason for me to try to reinvent the wheel. Using standards also allows the Ctrl MC to be used with existing software. For example, I can now use SavvyCAN, maybe the most used free software for CANBUS network analysis. I connect a USB cable on one end of my new device. I'm also using a separate galvanic isolator here to make sure I do not damage my PC in case anything goes wrong during testing. The finished product will, of course, have this built in. Normally, you would have used a laptop for this beside your motorcycle. The other end connects to the CANBUS on the system, plus a ground connector is needed. Then it's just to start up the software and set up a connection to the device. As soon as I start the Ctrl MC system, SavvyCAN starts displaying all the messages that are transmitted over the CANBUS network. I know this looks quite cryptic, as it's showing the raw CANBUS data. Every time I press a button or a sensor is sending a message, this is now shown as a number. It's the exact data sent on the network. Now is when the DBC file comes handy. That is a database file that explains the data. It's used to code and decode the signals. I have been using Quasar DB editor to manage the file. That's also a commonly used software, freely available to download online. And this is the beauty by using standards. A lot of tools is available online. Most manufacturers keep this file a secret, so you have to use their proprietary tools or their service centers to get things diagnosed and fixed. We don't do that. The DBC file is of course available to download. That is what makes open source projects like this so great. It's designed to make your life easier, not to drain your wallet. By loading this DBC file into SavvyCAN, the system can now show the data in a simplified way. Let me press the brake pedal. You can see it's shown with value 1 telling it's on. When I released the pedal, it shows 0 to indicate it's off. Let me press the brake lever on the handlebar, the same thing happens. This confirms that both switches work and send signal over the CANBUS. As more sensors are connected, like speedometer, engine RPM, temperature sensor and other stuff, all of these values will be displayed. This will make monitoring, diagnostics and troubleshooting possible using SavvyCAN as part of the Ctrl MC system. Finally, let's talk about the COVESA Vehicle Signal Specification, or VSS. For context, this is an open data model designed to standardize and normalize vehicle data definitions globally. It's backed by major global brands like Bosch, BMW, Ford, GM, Honda, and more. I've been evaluating the VSS to see how it fits our architecture. The standard was introduced around 2016 to give modern connected vehicles a unified data language. It covers advanced safety systems, infotainment systems, telemetry, powertrain, lighting, actuators. However, from what I have seen, it's not a perfect fit for a vintage or classic motorcycle system. I noticed a few gaps during my review. For instance, there is a standard data point for absolute oil pressure in kilopascals. There were no standard definition for a simple high-low oil pressure warning light, what you typically find on a classic bike. Instead of working around it, I decided to test their governance process. I submitted a formal change request directly to COVESA's GitHub. After a technical review, my proposal was actually approved and merged into the global standard. I have to give a sincere shout out to Eric at Bosch, who helped me review and implement my submission. It's definitely something I'll investigate more. If you have more insight about it, please let me know. Then the last news story. Well, I'm not sure if it's even classified as news, as it hasn't even happened yet. Anyway, I have decided And Claude, my colleague, has agreed. There will be an adventure motorcycle variant of the Ctrl MC system. The adventure motorcycle segment isn't really that old. It's just in recent years the oldest ones can be considered as vintage motorcycles. It has probably helped a bit that famous YouTubers such as Itchy Boots has been riding old school Tenery, and Adam Riemann has restored 2 old Africa twins and recently a BMW 1150 GS. I have a Kajiva Elephant myself, and I've gained some experience from customizing the dashboard to be able to fit a tablet to it. I have an idea on building a universal slim display to free up space to fit a tablet for navigation and entertainment system. It's most likely not gonna happen this year, but it's definitely added to the backlog. I hope this video was useful, and in the next video in this series I will be testing the new module from NextPCB to see if the new Infineon Spock switches are a good choice. I will also test how much current can they handle. They will be tested to their limits next time. Let's see if we can blow up some PCBs. Hope to see you back. Bye bye.